Welcome back, Nicholas. This comic corner, classic, non-classics. This is episode number 1152. And yep, I got two trades for you, both digitally. This is a website I normally read comics from, but since this is a trade payback in this one, why not discuss it? It is, by far, the most polarizing crossover released by DC Comics since I've been reading them. And I've been reading DC Comics now since 2010. Since 10 years since I started basically reading DC comic books. This crossover got so much backlash that Tom King got a lot of flack and death threats because of the storyline. The second one he got death threats for, and this is, well, it's a storyline Lenz just reviewed just recently. Heroes in Crisis, written by Tom King and art by Clay Mann. Yep, that's the writing here. This event was 9 issues. Now, before I discuss this, now there's a couple things I should tell everybody about this. The Lenz did not mention. Number 1, the fact that any deaths in this crossover are in fact permanent. Yep. When that was announced, everybody hated it. Because people hate seeing heroes getting killed off for no reason at all. The other was an issue of the storyline, where it depicted it was very heavily implied in this particular issue they were going to kill off Poison Ivy, which got the issue recalled. Yes, it is the second issue I have ever seen of a comic book in recent memory where the cover was recalled. The last time I heard this happen was with, I think it was Batgirl issue 48, where it was one of those Joker variant covers by Raphael Albuquerque. This particular thing got recalled because a tiny group of people decided to recall the cover because it very heavily implies something that may have happened in the Batman killing joke that Batgirl, aka Barbara Gordon, was raped by the Joker. It was something that Alan Moore has never stated at all in interviews. He has never said that Barbara Gordon was raped by the Joker. He may have stripped her in the comic book, but he never raped her. That is something that some other person made up. Yes. Now, the heroes killed off in the storyline, a lot of whom were very popular characters. Now, my friend Tivia decided to list this comic as one of the worst comics he read that came out in the year 2018. Well, I didn't hate the storyline as much as he did, because here's the thing. There's some characters I did feel basically connection to. Batman, Superman, those two I had connections to because the Batman and Superman animated series. Wonder Woman I did have a connection to, but not very much. But the thing is, at the time this book was coming out, Tom King was getting close to wrapping up his run, at least less than a year before he ended his run for Batman. A book he had been writing since 2016. So people wanted him to switch with Bendis to do Superman. Yep. And here's the strange thing about it. This cover, and Lenz easily pointed this out, but this is definitely true. There are 2 characters for this cover who don't appear in the storyline. And those are Mr. Miracle and Big Barda. Yeah, they're on the cover, not in the story. Also, Batgirl is in the story, but not wearing this costume. Yeah. I do agree, this costume is really good. Now, I have no problem with the new costume. My problem with the outfit is the mask. It's a very thin domino mask with bat ears in her hair. When I first saw this costume, I'm like, okay, the costume looks great, got a good color scheme with it. I think the bat's a little too much, a little too big. Kind of reminds me of the Frank Miller Batman symbol. The mask is the biggest problem. And I'm thinking, DC, why the heck did you prove this damn mask for this costume? If I were the artist if I was an artist, basically, one thing I would definitely do is give her a better frickin' mask. Like giving her a frickin' domino mask. Because it looks stupid and makes completely obvious that Barbara Gordon is Batgirl. Why the heck anybody at DC approved of this, I have no idea. Now, as for the costume she had prior to that, I had no problem with the costume. The costume was the problem. The problem was the writing in her book, basically, I had a problem with. Where sometimes I liked it, sometimes I didn't. And the problem with the Batgirl comic for the past several years is it has very little connection to the main Bat books. I mean, that's one thing I loved about the Batwoman title, was the fact that it actually had a connection to the Bat books. Yes, it was doing its own thing, but it felt like it was part of the actual universe. Batgirl, nope. It seemed as though as soon as Gail Simone left, let's not have the book attached. Now, you don't have to have it directly attached to the Bat books, but at least have it feel like it's part of the actual Bat books. Yes, Batgirl herself feels like she's part of the Bat books, but her title? Heck no. At least not according to some people who basically her editor of the book. Like, I'm hoping the book gets relaunched. And please, pick a writer who actually can have the character, have the book integrate the main Bat books. Don't have it basically where it's definitely implied you can have it set in a different freaking universe. Yep. Now, I did not hear about the whole thing about the whole thing about when the car mentioned about, like, the actual amount of issues this thing was supposed to have. I did know about the delays of the book. Yes, the book was delayed. They did have a couple issues delayed. As far as I know, Dear Tom King or Clayman has actually mentioned this. I never brought up the Clayman when I met him last year at the Orlando Touring Comic Con. Yes, I have met Clayman. I have never met Tom King. I know he was at one Comic Con I went to, but I didn't actually get to his table. Yes, but that was before Heroes of Crisis came out. And the thing is, when I mentioned to Clayman about Tibia having this comic on his worst comic that he did of 2018, he said, was it because of Death of Wally West? And I said, yes, that is mainly the reason why for it. And I told him, I didn't have much connection to Wally West at all. Because when I was reading DC comic books starting in 2010, the Flash at the time was Barry Allen, who was still the Flash this very day. Yep. Now the two primary characters of this storyline are Booster Gold, Harley Quinn, Batgirl, yeah, she's basically part of the book, and along with Ted Kord, and yeah. Also, my biggest problem with this storyline is it has something similar in common with Secret Empire. The big name characters don't do a heck of a lot. There's not a lot of really big names in the story. It's mostly put just, oh yeah, let's just have a story deal with mental issues. I don't have a comment about it because I think that the way mental issues have been displayed in comic books, I do agree, it's particularly quite stupid. I'm not going to mention if I suffer with mental issues. It's particularly private, okay? Now, first issue starts out with Booster Gold in a diner, and he meets up with Harley Quinn. Now, I should point out, though, Booster Gold and Harley Quinn, pre-Flashpoint, as far as I know, these two have never met. Post-Flashpoint, well, Booster Gold has heard of Harley Quinn, but I don't think he's ever met her. Yes, and I shall also talk about this. The confessionals. Yeah, so something happened every issue. Like the first one's Harley Quinn, obviously. And they have some basically for characters that I may have heard before, like Blue Jay, who is Shrinks. I vaguely know the character. Yeah, he's not a character I'm over familiar with. So when I first saw him in the storyline, I didn't know much about him. And then we see deaths of various characters. Hotspot, who was killed off in Titans East, along with Lagoon Boy. So this is Steel. Which, for what I've heard about this version of Citizen Steel, this is supposed to be Hank Henshaw III. Yes. The woman here, I'm not really sure who she's supposed to be. Hotspot is not a character I do kind of know about him because Dan Jurgen, Chuck Dixon, Teen Titans, but it's been a while. So, but the run was that was really good. And in case you're wondering, is that run and trade? No, no, it isn't. I don't know why that book is not in trade, and yet volume 3, 4, and 5, even the current volume is in trade. But this volume is not. The first volume is mostly all in trade, but this volume isn't. Nope. Now, they mentioned the whole thing about Sanctuary. They mentioned some books prior to this. Sanctuary is supposed to be this special facility meant to deal with mental issues. Okay. And has AI running the place that has made the collective conscious of Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. Why in the world they could have a trained psychiatrist here is completely up in the air. Yep. And then we see two characters that my friend Tibia hated this. Seeing death of Wally West and Roy Harper, aka Arsenal. Yes. A Teen Titans character getting killed off in this story. Now Wally West, no, he's not dead. In the case of Roy, yeah, he's still dead. And I will get to what happens with him afterwards in the Green Arrow book, because this particular death is affected not only it's basically brought up in pages of Red Hood, Outlaw. It's also brought up in Green Arrow, which Green Arrow makes sense. I will be discussing that because I have also going to have digitally on here the book that has the tie-in books, which is not that many. And we have a confessional about Roy Harper. Yep. By the way, the tie-in's a lot better written than this. And none of them are written by Tom King. Nope. Then we have something with Booster Gold. We have Poison Ivy here, who was interrupted by Harley Quinn, who was not supposed to be there, despite the fact Harley Quinn is crashing at Poison Ivy's place. And then we see the Penguin. Yes, the Penguin. Trying to make a deal. We see Batman doing an autopsy on a Citizen Steel, who apparently he's got one of Joker's teeth in his system. And then we see a Batman confessional. Yes, now, according to Batman, he says these confessionals are actually deleted and scattered to billions of pieces. Yep. And then we have Harley Quinn back in her classic costume for some reason. Yes, the post-Flashpoint costume. She stopped wearing it and goes back to wearing this. Linkard did not mention this at all in his review. I don't know why he didn't mention this at all. I mean, it's so abrupt, like, oh, we have Harley Quinn back in the classic Baldini costume for some reason. In the book, it's never explained at all, despite the fact that at the time, if you look at the previous issue, she's wearing the costume she's wearing, I believe, the pages of her own solo book. Yes. But not a page of Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad, she wears a red and blue outfit. Here it's basically red and black. Yep. And I like the fact she got a chance to hug Wonder Woman, which is quite nice. Now, she has met Wonder Woman. Yes, she has, pre-Flashpoint. Post-Flashpoint, as far as I know prior to this, the only time these two characters have interacted was in the pages of Batgirl and the Birds of Prey, when she briefly joined up with the Birds of Prey as a temporary member, which I thought was a really smart move. We have confession for Wonder Woman for some reason, just cause. We have the Flash beats up a bunch of... Now, Linkard didn't identify who these characters are. These are samurai bots. Yes, these are minor villains who he fought back in the 80s. Why in the world they're back in the post-Flashpoint continuity, I have no idea. My only guess is the reason why Tom King was allowed to use these characters and not the rogues, and this is my opinion, because if you watch the Flash TV show, at the start of the 4th season of the show, they actually have these bots show up, and maybe that's a reference to that, I have no idea. And of course, Barry beats up Booster. Now, one thing I've got to mention about Flash is that unlike the Trinity, who have constantly changed their costumes, like Superman, for example, has gone through 3 different costumes in just 9 years. Batman, on the other hand, same thing, 3 costumes. Wonder Woman, also 3 costumes. Flash, still the same costume. Yeah, I'm not really sure why that. Okay, we gave new costumes to Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, but not the Flash. Flash is still in the same costume, probably because people don't hate his costume as much as they hated the Trinities. Yep, and there's this mysterious rose, which, yeah, this rose turned out to be Poison Ivy. Let's explain later. And Linkara, I will point something that Linkara did. I didn't initially see this. Notice this when I was reading it before. They mentioned about a file that was sent to Lois Lane about the sanctuary. Her assistant is reading from an actual file. Why in the world? Now, I do agree. The editor should have caught this. Yes. Now, I can't see. Yeah, because of the glare. But yeah, the editor of this book should have caught this. And had the scene redrawn. But, nope. Let's have the editor be completely lazy. Just go forward. We have a confession with Superman. Just cuz. And then we have Lagoon Boy, Wally West, and Booster Gold. Okay, fine. Yeah. Let's see. And we also see apparently that we see somebody has killed Lagoon Boy, and then we see a holodeck. Yes, Sanctuary's got a holodeck, and Wally reunites with his kids, so apparently his kids don't notice he's wearing different costume when they last saw him. And they explain the purpose of the mask as so that people who are in Sanctuary, who are not superheroes, don't know who they are. Yep. And then we briefly see Captain Cold in his pre-Flashpoint costume, along with Iris and Jay. Yep. And then we have this long column thing. I'm not sure why Tom King did this for. Basically the AI argue with Booster Gold. And then frequently we see Lagoon Boy getting killed. Now, yes, the person who killed him in pre-Flashpoint was actually one of Raven's brothers. Here, it's... I do agree with Linkara's theory that this book takes place in its own continuity, and it's implied that pre-Flashpoint did happen, but apparently other characters are just somehow alive to be killed off again, just cuz. We have an argument between Booster and Booster. Yeah, fake Booster versus the real Booster. Yep, the whole thing with Wally. We see dead body of Red Devil. Yes, Red Devil for some reason. Red Devil is Teen Titans character from the Jeff Johns run. Why the heck was he killed off? I have no idea. It's particularly very weird. And then we see some other characters kind of still. The Hank Haywood character. Gunfire. I actually had to ask Chuck Dixon about this guy because I vaguely know who this guy is. Because I saw this guy pop up in the Bane Conquest series, so I was not all that familiar with him. Tattoo Man. I am familiar with this guy. He appeared in the Villains for Hire book, and he also had tie-in miniseries for Final Crisis. Garnak. A caveman in present day. Of course, Red Devil. The Protector, Celeste, even though she's supposed to be in the future at this point. Nemesis, a guy who at one point dated Wonder Woman. Now, why is the Protector here? Despite the fact this character was exclusively created for, this is what I've heard, this character was created as a stand-in for Robin. And the drug PSAs. Oh yeah, and they're revealing in this book that he actually did take drugs. Lots of them. Despite the fact he was an advocate for anti-drug, basically a poster child for anti-drugs. Yeah. Celeste's here because they show her go off in her normal look. Plus, I love this little thing of the classic Teen Titans thing of this page from Clayman having Donna Troy walk by it. And of course, Donna Troy is wearing her new costume that she's wearing in the Titans book. Yeah. Of course, Booster's investigated about what happened. And we see Lois in a t-shirt and panties. Just cuz. And then we have Batgirl in the costume. I don't mind the costume, it's the mask I have a problem with. Where she decides to do a confessional. by standing up, take off her utility belt, and then show off her bullet wound. Which, yes, I do agree with this. It does look fresh, despite the fact this happened several years ago, according to comic continuity. Just cuz. So yeah, we have sexy Batgirl for no reason. And then she fights with Harley Quinn, and then we have a sexy Harley Quinn. Just cuz. And then we cut to Green Arrow and Black Canary, which Black Canary is like, screw this, and he just stares up like, whoa. And I love this scene where you have Blue Beetle and Booster Gold. Like I said, they break out and have a line with Rose and Four Heroes, which that's kind of strange. Then we have Ted Kord giving a confessional, which is interesting to say the least. Yeah, at least Tom King knew how to write Ted Kord properly. Can't say it for the other characters. You ever seen the Batcave where stuff gets wrecked? And then we have this article by Lois, Sanctuary, which Linkara pointed this out, though, that if Lois published what the actual thing was, yeah, despite the fact she kind of did publish this, she would face lawsuits and a bunch of basically criminal charges for posting stuff about people's privacy. Yep. But nope, she's perfectly fine. She doesn't really suffer from that. Nope, she's immune to it because she's Superman's wife. Just cuz. Yep. I love the scenes between Booster and Blue Beetle in this comic. It's really good. You have a confessional from Commander Steel. A scene between Batgirl and Batman. And we see Celeste go back to human form and go back again because she can't hold it very long. Yep. Fight. Protector admitting that he was on drugs. Superman basically in a press conference about Sanctuary. We see briefly Blue Devil. Yes, Blue Devil. Yeah, he's a character created by Jerry Conway in the Firestone comic. Here, be completely random. And then we have random shots of Adam Strange, Mr. Terrific. We also see Harley Quinn and Batgirl on top of rooftops. We see the female. Yes, Linkara did not mention this. This is the female Shining Knight. Because there's a breast there. And this is clearly the female one who appeared from the 7th Victory here. Why she's there, I have no idea. We have Ray Palmer, Adam, Swamp Thing, Satana, Starfire. Yep. We have Harley Quinn again. And then more confessionals from Karnak, Wally West, and Harley Quinn, just cuz. And then we have a scene from, supposedly from Flashpoint Rebirth, from, not Flash Rebirth, from DC Rebirth, which, yes, I agree with this particular one, where the dialogue is said right after Barry and Wally reunited. Jeff Johnson wrote in the comic book. Nope. We see Garnak finding a bear, Wally Holly hugging Superman, Nightwing, Donna Troy, and Roy Harper. We see a scene with the Joker. Okay. We see the Titans. We see Harley and Ivy. Yeah, a bunch of random stuff happens in this book. Okay, in case you're wondering what caused all the deaths, Wally. From a couple different sources I heard, he's like, oh yeah, let's make himself a villain for some reason. And he tried to create his own Flashpoint paradox. Yep, he was trying to do something that Barry did. Barry did his by accident. Wally tried to do his on purpose. Yep. And yeah. And we have Poison Ivory regrowing as a plant lady, which some say that makes her a Swamp Thing ripoff, which that was implied for some time because they're connected to each other. Oh, don't worry, this is explained in a later comic book about this. And well, Wally really wanted his kids back. This movie kept killing a lot of people, and well, there's not much else to say about this. Then Linkara said, it's not that well written. to say the least. Yeah, there's fighting going on. Now, there is more confessions to bring up. We have a confession from Jason Blood, the host of Etric Demon, Fire Force, The Guardian, Marie Mademoiselle, Guy Gardner, Black Lightning, Doug, Cole. Yeah, Cole, the character killed by Lamar Wolfman for Christ and Fears. And Red Robin. Yep, Red Robin. We all see Frankenstein, June Rebbins, Vixen, Dr. Will Magnus of the Metalman, Nightwing, the Hammer's Blue Beetle, Orphan, Supergirl, Hal Jordan. June Ribbons. I'm not that big. I don't remember what this character's from, but I know what the other ones. Yep. And of course, Harley Renant. I mean, we have more confessionals from Red Hood, Marsh Matter, Katana, Mira, Tommy Tomorrow. What the heck? And when I read this version, like, what the heck is Tommy Tomorrow doing here? He's from the future. Why is he in Sanctuary for? Miss Terrific, Metamorpho, Detective Chimp, and Zatanna in her pre-Flashpoint costume. Despite the fact that at the time this book was coming out, Just Like Dark was coming out, and, well, they had her basically display the costume. We all see Sideways, a character from Dan DiDio's comic book. Yeah, Dan DiDio created this character. The female Dr. Light, Robin, Aquaman, Fire, Ice, Rainer. The Question. Yes, the Vic Sage Question. Cyborg. Yep, Cyborg. Now the convincing issue. Oh yeah, let's just basically create a clone body. And basically how the whole thing with Wally is, oh yeah, go to a clone body and just have that be like the autopsy thing for a crime scene. Okay, somehow. We have confessionals from Beast Boy, Jessica Cruz, Adam Strange, Red Tornado, Spoiler, Catwoman, Captain Atom, Raven, and Jim Kerrigan. Yeah, this is quite strange. Jim Kerrigan is dead. Why the heck is he even here? It's quite strange. While he's arrested and hauled out the jail, and don't worry, he's not there for very long due to the fact he's basically had the Flash 4 comic come up right after this by Scott Liddell and Brett Booth. Now I'll give props to the artwork. The artwork itself is really good. I give the artwork roughly a 9 out of 10. Good, but hit or miss in some places. Story itself, I give a 5 out of 10. Mainly because the fact that, well, it's not that good of a story. Yeah. But yeah, I'm not going to say much else about Heroes in Crisis. It's just a story that's not to my liking. That's the gist of it. Now we have the tie-in. We have the trade that collects tie-ins. Heroes in Crisis, the Price, and other stories. You have the coverage of Batman holding the costumes of Wally West and Gotham Girl. Yep. Now here's what is in this book. And you're probably thinking, really? This is the tie-ins. Okay, the tie-ins are the second AO for the current volume for Flash, Batman Volume 3, issues 64 to 65, The Flash 64-65, and Green Arrow 45, 40, 50. This is from the last volume for the series. The annual itself for Flash is simply put this: it's the return of Bart Allen. Yep, Bart Allen, him basically trying to reconnect with his lost stuff. This is mainly sort of a loose setup for the return of Young Justice. Yeah, he's back as Impulse. Yep, back as Impulse. We have mild tie-ins to Heroes in Crisis, and Josh Williamson writes this up a heck of a lot better than Tom King does. Yep, and then we have Barry take on August, aka Godspeed. And they're fight. Every basically a various Flash show. We have Mina, who was formerly the Chinese Flash. She was basically the Chinese Flash for the Justice League of China. Yeah, why she's back in the U.S. is never actually explained properly against book ended. And we have Barry beating up August. And we have a brief scene where Bart beats up Godspeed. That was interesting. Yeah. But this was a really good story. And it's mostly put also Barry informing Iris about the death of Wally. And of course, right after being upset, Bart visiting the future. And we see August. For him, it sets up the Flash Universe storyline, which actually ended Josh Williams' run for the book. Then came The Price. That's the next thing. This is a cross between Batman and Flash. Now, this is mainly done as a tie-in to Heroes in Crisis. It's mostly put just tying up a loose end from Tom King's run that apparently Tom King didn't bother to deal with. Yes, this is the return of Gotham Girl. First time since 2017. Yep, it had been well over a year since her last appearance. Actually, it's been 2 years. Now, mostly put, it's just Batman and Flash dealing with Gotham Girl, the storyline. And also the return of her brother Gotham. Yes. So you can kind of say this is what Batman was up to, despite the fact he should have been investigating the actual murders, what happened in Sanctuary. Nope, he had to deal with loose end from his comic book, and had it involve the Flash. Now, my guess is the reason why DC did this, because the button probably was a big financial success. Williamson was probably open to doing a crossover right away, but Tom King wasn't. I'm sure he probably was open to it, but he probably decided to focus on Heroes in Crisis, and just had this whole 4-part story focused, all done by Josh Williamson and art by Gillian March. And this is actually a really good story. I like it. It's damn good. It's just Batman and Flash investigating what's going on with Gotham Girl, and her basically having like very new powers at expiration point, and dealing with various things. Of course, I mentioned the costume designers, which that's interesting to say the least. Where basically Batman reveals that Alfred was the one who designed all the Robin costumes. For Flash, for Kid Flash, he helped basically Wally design his costume. Really, it's all Wally's design, but Barry helped him, which that's good character stuff right there. And yeah, they just basically deal with this problem, and of course, well, Barry, of course, is dealing with what happened in Heroes in Crisis, the death of Wally, and does some damage, and of course, that with Gotham Girl does damage to Central City, and her's at the hospital. She, of course, goes off, and this is mostly a way to write the character off. She doesn't die per se, but nothing much else is done with her. That's really the whole Justice storyline, but it is so damn good. Williamson himself, great job with the book, and there's also mention happened in the first arc for Justice League, which I thought was really nice of the book to do. Yeah, and I like the fact they set a pretty good ending to it. I believe the arc here was done by Gillian March. Yeah, he did the artwork. Who also done artwork for Catwoman. Yep. And as far as I know, after the storyline, I think came the stuff with City of Bane. That's what came next. We got a brief scuffle between Batman and Flash over what happened here. And it turns out something basically deal with the multiverse stuff and various mysteries. Interesting. And then we deal with the Green Arrow stuff. Green Arrow 45, which is the first issue in here, it's mostly put just this. It's just Green Arrow. It's basically Roy Harper's funeral, which makes perfect sense to happen in the pages of Green Arrow. Roy Harper is our comic book, so doing Green Arrow. He said we're supposed to do Green Arrow, so why do a funeral for him? Okay, really smart of DC to do this. And this book, you're probably thinking, is this book by Ben Percy? Nope. This book is written by the Bensons. Yes. This is a well-written issue. And it's a shame the Bensons couldn't do more issues, because the thing is, they left 2 issues after this issue came out, which I thought that was so dumb for DC to do, just releasing the Bensons in the book because they want to take the characters in a new direction. And you had the various characters dealing with, well, Roy's death. And it is such a well-written comic book, and the Bensons should have not been let go from this book, because they did a really good job with this issue. It was really damn good. Yeah, exploring like the history between Roy and Ollie was done really well. The last few issues is just, well, it's Return of Count Vertigo. Count Vertigo in this run, he's got a brand new look, which I haven't shown up here because, well, there's a reason for it. I haven't reviewed the trade that collects this yet. I'll review it soon, hopefully. Mostly for these last couple issues, it's just Green Arrow versus Count Vertigo. Because why not? Yep, why not? And of course, well, him informing him about the death of Roy. Now, this is what the new Count Vertigo look looks like. This is still pretty much Warner Zep. Yeah, but he's got a brand new look, despite the fact he already had a new look with the Jeff Lemire stuff. Why they changed his look, I have no idea. And they take each other on, and of course, Count Vertigo asks the obvious question: where's Arsenal? And actually, he asked where's Roy Harper. He said, and all I asked the answer said very, very plainly, he died. And Count Vertigo's like, how? It's like, I can't tell you. And he's like, what was the heroin? No, he was clean for years. Are you sure he's dead? You seen his body? And he said this to me once. No one owns me. I'm my own business. I remember that. Yeah, it's a great issue. And I believe this is written by the Bensons, if I'm not mistaken. I think so. And then we have the final thing dealing with well, how should I put this? Deals with the end of this comic. I'm surprised they threw this one in here. This is done by Colin Kelly and Larson Jackson. This is better than their first two issues they did for the book, which were pretty forgettable to say the least. The last issue of the book, which is printed in here, which I'm kind of glad they threw this in here. Because Rio's like, wait, we have a cliffhanger dealing with Green Arrow. Yep, the whole point of this issue is that Green Arrow has to get out of town. Why? Because the government wants the box that John Jones gave him back in his annual. Yep, and it's a box that take down the Justice League they got from space. Yep. And of course he had to leave town because of this. And this probably would cause the end of the comic book. Yep, but this issue is really well written. And I think Colin Kelly basically and Jackson and his partner here basically learned their lesson from their two-party did before, which was pretty forgettable. It's not very good. And of course, we have Black Canary five various government forces, and her having to say goodbye to Green Arrow. He has to leave town because of this box. And he finally opens the box, and it's nothing. He's like, I knew it. And then he just takes off his domino mask. Says, John, I know you can hear me, so listen up. I know what you think of me. Yeah, he thinks it was a joke. And also, you look at this guy. And then he just takes off his suit, puts it in a backpack. And he takes off his costume, his rebirth costume. Yeah, the costume he's wearing since the start of this book. Yeah, he takes it off, puts on a flannel shirt and a hoodie, and he pretty much just buries his suit. And then the last thing we see after his comic says, "I must fire Oliver Queen." All said, and you will. I won't be an empty box you're facing. It'll be me. See you soon. He walks away, and then the box activates. Wow. Interesting, to say the least. Yeah. And that's that. That's the issues themselves. Yep. And overall, a really good set of tie-ins. And in my opinion, better than the main book. These issues were written by a few very good writers. Josh Williams writing the first half of this was really well done. And it's surprising that we have this crossover and you have this many tie-ins. And Annie of her Flash, a couple issues of his book. Yeah, it's like his annual, the 4 part of the price, and they have 3 issues, like 4 issues of Green Arrow, and that's it. That's all you got in here, which is quite surprising. yeah, unlike, let's say, with Heroes of Crisis, where I gave that a 5, this book I give a 9.5 out of 10. A much better trade than the Heroes of Crisis one. And, yeah, not much to say about this. It's much better than the actual original thing. Okay, so yeah, that's it for Stick Love You, and that's it for videos today. So stay tuned for tomorrow for our reviews for One Piece, My Hero Academia, basically new chapter manga, Baruto, and Case Pose. Okay, see you next video. Bye.